and welcome to the next episode of The Vision Within. Today we're going to talk about, what did we say, body, mind, spirit, soul. Thank you, yes. I'm Loretta.
I'm Katrina.
I'm Lori.
I'm Lisa.
And we're here, we're just going to kick it off and talk about some of the things that we had landed on just a few minutes ago. And so...
About cleaning.
Yeah.
We talked about cleansing, and cleansing for body, mind, and spirit. Cleansing for sort of laying the foundation for spiritual growth and evolution of our mind, body, and spirit. And so...
And it can look a lot of different ways.
It can.
That's what we were talking about, because I have this great book that sits on the back of my toilet. And it's, which is like the best place to read. But... it's called, I think it's Everyday Serenity, and it's an older book, but one of the ones I landed on was talking about how you're not going to find, peace in a temple or by chanting all the time or by, that it's going to land in real, I'm the person next to you. I'm, it was called In the Next Seat, and it was basically like, hey, if you're looking for God, guess what? I'm in the next seat. Kind of thing. It was really cool. That's so awesome. Cleansing it doesn't have to be, you don't have to become this Puritan or, but what are the things that we can do to kind of start healing our bodies and stuff?
Well, for me, being a Capricorn and an earth sign and very connected to Gaia, it shows up for me in, and also being a colon hydrotherapist, it shows up for me in what we put in our bodies, what we eat. Mm-hmm. I love aloe. I take aloe juice every day as it's just so healing and supportive of the immune system. Mm-hmm. I notice immediately in my skin, hair, and nails when I don't take it. So I really love aloe, yes. And so I take aloe every day. I believe in colon hydrotherapy. And as a colon hydrotherapist, every organ and system in the body has an energy. Mm-hmm. The energy of the colon is holding on to things that no longer serve us. So when you move that energy through the body, it really helps open people up and really relieves a pressure at times, physical and energetic, that might have been hanging out for a while. Mm-hmm. And I know that it might be a little squeamish to talk about colon hydrotherapy on a show, but it is so profoundly beautiful. And when I first told my family I wanted to be a colon hydrotherapist, they were like, "You want to do what?" And I said, "Well, if people can handle a lot of different things. Some people are squeamish about blood. Some people are squeamish about, bodily functions. That's not my gig. So if I can handle it, why wouldn't I help people in that way?"
Right.
So those are just a couple of the ways. I also love the use of herbs and oils because they're so gentle and they're so easeful. And I love to use them. I think they are just gifts from Gaia to help us on our journey. Mm-hmm. So that's when I think of cleansing, I think of it more from a physical standpoint because that's where I am on my journey.
Yeah, me too.
Lisa, I know that you have moved through and into a point in your life where you're comfortable with where that has taken you from a physical standpoint. So talk to us a little bit about cleansing from the mind and spirit standpoint and how that lands for you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going to ask you first, what comes first? The body, mind, spirit, soul, or whatever. What comes first? What do we clean first?
I think it's whatever we have an awareness that
well,
needs cleansed.
I remember when you came to my office one time and you gave me this huge awareness that Mark and I were coming from two different places. And I had the same one with our friend Iva. Okay. She had said within a day, you and her had both delivered the same message to me. That we can, if you're talking about a spectrum, whether it's the accept, appreciate, approve, or what have you, sometimes people can come from the outside in or the inside out. And sometimes when some people, like Mark was super grounded, he was trying to get more in touch with the spiritual side. I was way out in the spiritual side, but I needed to get more grounded, and we were trying to come together and create a bridge. Yeah. I think wherever you are, for me it happened more physical came a little first because I had basically stuffed emotions for so many years. I created leaky gut syndrome.
Okay.
And I was healing my gut.
Yeah.
And then it kind of catapulted me, in part of that journey into more spiritual. So I think at any time we're going to be moving, but whatever presents, like if you're just thinking, what do I need to cleanse? I think we can all come up with an answer like, ooh, my body first, or ooh, my mind has too many thoughts.
Yeah.
And, I think we'll all land on what's right for us at that time.
Yeah. Well, before I answer, I'm curious, Loda, what do you think?
Yeah.
I mean, because it's something I've been thinking about. What did I start cleaning first? I'm not even sure I know, but anyway, go ahead.
I think what I started cleaning first was the thoughts in my mind, as well as my everyday environment. I started doing a lot more clearing in my home, a lot of smudging, just to kind of keep the energy levels elevated here. And I think that I needed to, and then of course, same with the physically as well, but I needed to get my thoughts under control, to get those cleansed, and then cleanse my environment. And then it's just a natural succession. And still, I kind of go back and forth. I've eliminated most of my sugar. Okay, sometimes I'll still have a glass of wine sometimes, but frankly, I really try to eat things that are not full of sugar. But like I might be great, really eating so healthy and green for a week, and then all of a sudden I'll come home and think, oh my gosh, my house needs to be smudged. So I'll hurry up and do that. So I think that we waver. But not waver, but I think what we
flow.
Yes, exactly, and we address what needs to be addressed at that time.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I will tell you that I've come to understand that by the time something shows up in my physical world, it is a result of a thought process or belief system that I have allowed. Right. And it really, although I'm very connected to the physical healing part of it and the physical environment, and have chosen to land on that in a lot of ways about how I express myself and how I help others. At the same time, I realize that by the time it gets there, there's more work to be done, because I think that it starts, and I feel that it starts there with our belief systems and our energy and what we create.
Right.
So sometimes, whether we're aware of it or not, we get that little nudge from the universe that says, okay, you got to take care of this.
Yeah.
Well, that segues into what I was thinking. You get that little nudge from the universe. We've got to take care of this, inner guidance telling us something. So maybe 20 years ago or so, I was at a spa area for a weekend, and we did this group meditation, and I just threw my hands up in the air. I'm like, meditate? What does that mean? Because my brain is going. So maybe for me, thinking back, the first step was to kind of step out of my body and observe that my brain, the thoughts were just going a mile a minute, and I could not clean out those thoughts. And then when I started to become aware that I could control the thoughts, that they really weren't me, they were just some kind of programming just going in like a computer program, just tons of. Once I started to clean out the clutter in my brain of all the unnecessary, duplicative, gobbledygook thoughts, then I started to get a connection. We talked about this in a previous episode, the heart to the brain, where the love is in the heart. And I started to receive the intuitive messages for inspired action. Oh, Lisa, you really don't need to drink that second glass of wine. That started it first, Or Lisa, maybe you can slow down on the red meat. It's very slow progression. But the more I cleaned out my brain of those thoughts, the more I was able to access my inner guidance. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
totally.
I had a naturopath that is wonderful, and he's been a really great. He's sort of come in and out of my life at different times, seemingly at exactly the right moment when he's brought some kind of awareness. But one of the first times I met with him one-on-one outside of a classroom setting, because I'd taken some classes from him, I sat down with him and we were going through some different things. And I went to him when I was feeling great. I wasn't sick because I was like, all right, what do we need to work on? What's going on? What am I missing? Because it's like Brene Brown says, she's a therapist, and she said, I have to go to therapists that see therapists because they can see right through the baloney. So it's the same thing. Like I have to go to a naturopath who sees naturopaths because they can see through the buldanga, and they can be like, what are you? And one of the most beautiful things, he just kind of looked at me for a moment, And I'm sure got in touch with his inner guidance, and he set everything down, set everything aside, and he pulled up a chair across from me, and he said, Katrina, he said, how often do you think about what you think about?
How often do you think about what you think about?
And my brain was going so fast, I kind of went, huh? It was almost like I had this, computer reboot. Like,
yeah.
Does that compute? Does that compute? Does that compute kind of a thing?
Yeah.
And he said, I'll say it again. He said, how often do you think about what you think about?
Oh, wow.
And I said...
That minimalizes it, doesn't it? All our thoughts.
I said, well, what would you be asking me that for? And he said, there's a reason. And when you think about that and when you are ready to have a different conversation about it, then we'll talk about your health. So he said, that's all I've got for you today.
Oh, wow.
He said, it was wonderful to see you. He stood up. He gave me a huge hug. I was totally confused. But the man is pure joy. I gave him a hug back, and I walked out. And he said, by the way, you're not paying for today. And I'm like, what?
Oh.
I said, you've been sitting up there in that chair across from me like the Buddha, giving forth your wisdom. I don't get it, but at some point I'll embrace it. And so now it kind of lands for me.
Yeah.
And it took me a few minutes to wrap my mind around it and my arms around it and really embrace it and think, holy cow, he just brought me right back to creating my reality and my own health. And he wanted me to be aware of it so that the next time we talked, that we could move forward from there. And I was very grateful for that. Yeah. Because I thought, I don't know that any Western medicine doctor would have said, Katrina, how often do you think about what you think? I am not sure that would have ever happened in my lifetime with the traditional medical establishment. I can't say that for sure, but that would be my bet.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, if our thoughts are completely about pain, shame, and blame, which it has been for most of our lives, and we've talked about in previous episodes, that 80% of our thoughts are negative.
Yeah.
So it feels like to me the first step must be to shift that from 80 negative to 20 positive, from 20 negative to 80 positive. And once we do that, our avatar body frequency will go up because we are what we think. And then the heart connection will be stronger to the brain, and everything will fall into place.
Well, to me, and could be because I'm an Aquarian, I'm an air sign.
Yeah.
It's all about the breath. It is, but when you think about, the only thing getting in the way of this heart transference is the throat chakra or the throat. And when that valve is closed, we're not breathing, we're not getting that transference. And what I have noticed is, like, when you think about too, if you're cleaning your house, because everything in our external environment is a direct reflection of what's going inside. If our house is cluttered, we're cluttered inside. If our house is dusty, we're dusty. We're not getting things done. I mean, it is. And you can tell kids, if kids live in a very unsettled, disruptive household, they can clean their room. They can organize their drawers, and they'll feel better. They've created a safe space, a place of sanctity. So if you're going into your house, or I look at my house and I think, I could just go in with I love the leaf blower. Oh my gosh, like I just get so excited with the leaf blower. And you can blow a lot of crap out in a very little bit of time. Well, what I've noticed is with breath work lately, and something I learned too from different meditation apps, and they tell you this in hypnosis too, don't try and control your thoughts. You don't have to control your thoughts. So if you are simply breathing, and my only focus is making sure my diaphragm is going up and down and I'm moving breath through me. In the beginning, when I first start, it may take me a half an hour of just breathing before my thoughts are out of my head and I'm actually connected or feeling things. I mean, I may have a lot of clutter up there that has to get blown out. But this is a central channel in our body. And when we're moving air through it, it will take a little bit of time to blow those thoughts out, but I guarantee you'll blow them out.
Yeah.
So let them be there and let them go, because when I've taken a train of thought and followed it out and whatever, and then it's like, oh wait, I'm supposed to still be breathing, and I do that again. I actually get a lot of answers on little tiny things too.
I love how you have described breathing blows the thoughts out.
Right,
I love that.
it does. I mean, right out the chimney.
Oh, and I feel those thoughts out too. But
That's
there
right.
you go. A different way to go about it.
Right.
Well,
And
you
what
gotta do it
sign
for
are
both.
you again? Is
Capricorn.
That, yeah, but is that air, water,
Earth.
Earth? See, so you're moving matter.
I am
Oh, see, and I'm moving air. And what are you a
Leo, fire.
fire? Okay,
Oh, this
so
is
you're
real interesting.
Yeah, that's right. You're
And I'm
burning.
Scorpio water.
Oh,
We just now discovered we're all four
just
elements.
realized that.
Oh my gosh.
we are totally
Whoa.
balanced.
This
We
is
are
wild.
totally
We've always kidded that we.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
we're
Yeah.
We didn't
totally
know.
balanced. Yes.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
yeah.
Just saw it for the first time live.
Wow, okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So
That's
you're
really
smudging and you're burning.
I am burning, yeah.
transmuting,
Yeah.
and you're washing. You're
Yeah.
cleaning. You're
Yeah.
always cleansing.
I am always
Yeah.
Right, always cleansing. So
And you're always working
interesting.
with the herbs and
Herbs and the oils.
Yes, exactly. And
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
breath work.
Yeah.
Wow, that's real interesting.
It is
We
real.
really didn't know. We didn't even think about this before.
So it takes all
awesome.
four of us to get the
Yeah.
job done.
Yeah.
So when you are fire,
Yeah.
what does that mean for, what does cleansing for spiritual growth mean for you?
Like I always picture the phoenix. I have been burned and reduced to ashes and have
Yeah.
been reborn many times in my life.
Yeah.
And it always for me happens in 10-year phases. I can time it like I can time it like I can time it. Every 10 years I go through this
Rebirth.
total rebirth. Yeah, I can tell you
Yeah.
significant events, the dates, everything. It's just that's just my pattern. Every 10
Yeah.
years I
Wow.
crash and burn and then I'm reborn again.
Yeah. Mine
So-
is 7.
Yeah.
So where does
7
it
years.
start for you? Where does it start with mind? Does it start with energy? Does it start with body?
No, it's the whole thing. It's like shedding a skin. Everything that I'm in no longer fits anymore.
And
right?
you like to do put your what you want to get rid of on a piece of paper and then burn it.
I do. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm not a
funny.
pyromaniac. I promise.
Yeah.
But it's because there's something.
Yeah.
So whenever you burn something, I mean, even when you think about like way back in the old days, you know, when there was like a sickness, they would burn the bed linens. They would burn even the
Yeah.
bodies.
Yeah.
Okay, because there's something very purifying about fire. And you know, and so when things need to be cleansed, and maybe it's just myself that I just can't do anything simply. It's like a whole catastrophe or nothing. You know? But it is, everything goes up. In my mind, I see that everything goes up in flames. And then
And mine goes up in smoke.
there you go for the air, exactly.
Air. Isn't
That's really
that
interesting.
Yeah.
Well, and for you being breath work, and for being an air sign, and for you being water, and that being such a healing element for you, and how you move within the flow of all that is.
Oh yeah, I always say go with the flow
Yeah.
and glow.
Yes, you do.
Right,
It's
right,
a river.
right.
That is
Right,
you,
see?
always.
So, and
Yeah.
you're very,
Yeah.
you've come
Yeah.
to your
Yeah.
healing through a lot of things, but one of them is a pure aquifer where you get your water.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
Oh my
true.
gosh.
Right,
I do.
right.
I come to Loretta and I see how, you know, you are almost reborn in fire, like the phoenix, and
Yeah.
how it shows up for you, and the way you burn what you want to release, and embrace what you want to allow. And for me, how it shows up in earth with
The herbs and oils.
herbs and oils
Yeah.
and trees. I do love a birch tree, but that's
Yeah.
beside the point. But it's interesting how it's going to land for all of us.
Yeah.
And also, when we were talking about too, spirit, mind, body, soul, right? The four things. There's always the four quadrants to be in balance in your life, and you may flow in any one of those at any one time. I was just watching a financial program, and it was talking about what kind of leader are you, or how do you show up, and you take a little quiz, okay? And I came up as a healer. One of them was CEO leader, one was, and I could see myself in all four areas.
Yeah.
But that was at that moment when I took the quiz, based on how I was feeling, that was what presented. And so I think that we have to embrace all four quadrants when we want to be fully in balance. And so we're going to have still the water elements, the fire, the earth elements. And I think whatever we are drawn to, either curiosity wise or just like, ooh, that looks cool, do it. Because I know just recently, as I've been moving through a lot of shift, and I said I wanted to cook a lot, I pour so much love into what I am cooking, and I have no doubt in my mind that the food is totally healing me and purifying me.
Absolutely.
I can feel how much change and vibration in just health, immune system, all of it, how much I've changed. Now, if you wanted to judge the food, would those all be pure, or would, maybe not, but I loved everything I was making and doing, and it has healed me. No doubt.
And that would be more like an earth sign, to get in the kitchen and cook with the
Right,
Mother Earth,
right.
Gaia, Mother Earth.
Right, and I've been smudging more than I ever have. I've been running water more than I ever have. I mean, I've it's
It is.
So I think the message is, regardless of what our propensity sign is, it's important for us to balance all four elements and all four directions and all that.
Right.
And what comes to us will be perfect for where we are in our life.
Right.
Agreed.
In whatever way that it comes.
Right.
Agreed.
And not try and force it.
Sure.
That let's say, you have to go, that's when you look at that circuitous path, the road less traveled. If everyone's going 90% of the people are going in one way, turn around and go the other, because that's the way you need to go.
Yeah.
And the road less traveled always gets us to here. And I was just thinking about this the other day, let's say you've got this point A to point B and you're trying to get here, and you've got this squiggly line. Okay, well, it's a lot more fun, to get off and, ooh, there's the biggest ball of twine. It's a lot more fun to take the road less traveled. And when you do that and you start raising that vibration, that squiggly line starts getting pulled up, and look how much longer it is than the short line.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Totally
it's a lot
agree.
longer. So you've gotten so much further by taking the circuitous path that may have seemed longer, but it gets you so much farther when you just have fun along the way.
Yeah.
I think that's the key. Yeah.
Well, I think that is about all the time we have for this session.
Good way to end
Now that
it.
we have solved the problems of growth in the world and in
Yes.
our bodies.
Yes, and we all know what elements that
Yes,
we're balanced
exactly.
here.
Yeah. So how great that we made that wonderful discovery about how we balance each other and how we show up in the show. It's no wonder that
I know,
we all
that
have
it
different
works so
perspectives
well.
that
Right.
help all of us grow together.
Yeah.
And we are, I guess, in our differences, we come together to elevate each other's perfection, which is a really fantastic way to be.
Yeah.
So we thank you for joining us on The Vision Within, and invite you to visit us at Rising Tides Global on our Facebook page and make a comment for us. Let us know what sign you are and what element you are within that sign. We'd love to hear from you. We're your hosts. I'm Katrina.
Loretta?
I'm Lori.
And I'm Lisa.
Have a great day. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.